What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the channel. As we are 13 days away until the MLB trade deadline, we are waiting and hoping that David Stearns makes the big move necessary to help this team into the playoffs, hopefully a World Series, and it's time for the New York Mets to make the blockbuster move, the big move that's going to change everything that we always talk about with the New York Mets as they half-ass deadlines, not do enough, do a little to shut up the fans, but never make that big necessary move with the needs of this team to make this team better. In my lifetime, it was the Yoenis Cespedes trade. That was the one time they actually went for it, and they finally got the guy. It was the perfect guy at the perfect time, and it took us all the way to the World Series. This is similar than 2015. The only difference is this team is much better than that 2015 team on paper. There is no excuses for David Stearns to not make a deal such as what you're going to see. I have two different deals, and then you could decide which one you think is worth your while. But it's definitely worth noting that either one of these trades could really help this team. I think the second one is even more important and probably bigger and can help both sides or both areas of needs for the New York Mets. So the first trade that we're going to look at is a trade that just involves Pirates pitcher Mitch Keller. Now, he's had a really good season. You can see his stats below: 113 innings, 3.58 ERA, 89 strikeouts, 1.168 WHIP. He's been basically status quo. He's been a veteran. He's been a consistent pitcher. Now, is he an ace? Absolutely not. Probably a number 3 on his best day. Maybe a number 2 if he can throw a gem or two. But he is nothing special. But he can really help this now healthy rotation even more. He can provide more innings, where Stearns can actually go to a 6-man rotation, maybe even talk about Clay Holmes going to the bullpen to help out the bullpen need if the Mets can't get a high leverage reliever, which we'll talk about in a little bit. This is what I think the Pirates would be willing to take in a trade to get Mitch Keller, Blade Tidwell, number 14th overall prospect, and Jonathan Santucci, number 11th overall prospect. Now, again, both are pitchers. Probably what the Pirates will ask for. They're giving up a pitcher. They might give up multiple pitchers by the time this trade deadline is over. They need controllable guys. Tidwell has pitched in the big leagues. Santucci could be a year, maybe 2 away, but you give him opportunities here where the Pirates will say, we got guys under control. They can possibly be in this rotation. Definitely Tidwell can be in this rotation. I think this is a solid offer. Now, some might say it might be a little too much for Mitch Keller. If you can avoid giving any top 10 prospects and give 2 top 15 prospects, I think you can get Mitch Keller. Now, again, this all involves and revolves around the competition for Mitch Keller. How many teams are going after him? What deal is better than the other deal? Do you have to overpay? Now, this I could say this is a slight overpay, but if you want a guy, go get him. The other good thing, and why I think Stearns is really focusing in on Mitch Keller here, is the fact that if you look below on his contract, he's still got 3 years of control over around $46 million and a free agent in 2029. So right there is why David Stearns will be all over this move. You got to give it up. You got to give up something to get something. And yes, the Mets are taking on the $49 million. Yes, the Mets are going to actually have an opportunity here to use some assets that they built up the farm system to get better, get proven talent on this roster. This team is top 5 in baseball. You can make them better. And this is one way to make it better, just bulking up this rotation even more. Because one injury to Manaea, one injury from Kodai Senga, it's a disaster. You got to have a backup plan. Tyler McGill isn't the answer. Blade Tidwell isn't the answer. And I know people say, well, what about Tong? What about McLean? What about Sproat? I don't believe David Stearns is willing to put these guys in the fire just yet in this rotation. He had opportunities to do it while we had all these injuries and still didn't do it. So what's the reluctance? So why not use some of those assets in Tidwell and Santucci, send them to Pittsburgh, and get Mitch Keller in the deal? Now, I like this deal. I would sign on the dotted line to make this deal happen. Now, again, it all revolves around what the competition is for Mitch Keller. Can the Mets have the best offer? What are the Pirates looking for? That is something that we don't know, right? We're just speculating here. We're hoping that this could be a deal that you can send these two guys over, get a guy that could be in the middle of this rotation. He's a solid pitcher. Number 3, number 2, maybe on his best day, but a very solid pitcher. Give you the innings that you need to protect Manaea and Senga. And Mitch Keller is just a guy that will pitch well. He's a solid pitcher. Nothing special, but will get the job done. So this is trade proposal number 1, where it's only Mitch Keller in the deal. Now, the reason why the topic is blockbuster trade coming soon is what if David Stearns decides to get the rotation arm, get the bullpen arm in just one trade. And it looks like this, guys. David Bednar added to this trade proposal. And yes, Tidwell is still in there. Throwing Boston Barrow, 2 top 15 prospects. And a ready-to-go major leaguer, LuisAngel Acuna, who is not ranked anymore because he's played it up in the big leagues long enough. This is a trade where, yes, there's going to be Met fans. I can see it now. I don't want to trade LuisAngel Acuna. On the New York Mets, LuisAngel Acuna is a glorified base runner and a defensive replacement. There is no development happen in Acuna in this organization. It's just not. They value Mauricio and Beatty more. They've proved that to you. Sending Acuna down. Not really playing Acuna. Beatty and Mauricio getting the bulk of the time. That shows you right there that they believe that Acuna is probably more valuable as a trade piece and an asset than what he can give you on the roster. He's done well with the base running. He's done well defensively, but he's lacked the offensive ability this team desperately needs. And making this trade solves 2 birds with 1 stone. You get a rotation arm. You get a high leverage reliever in Bednar. And one thing left the Mets need, a bat. And they don't even give a top 10 prospect where they can use maybe 1 or 2, possibly 3, get that big bat if it's out there. This is where the New York Mets and David Stearns needs to really think about this. This is a situation where you can get 2 answers on this roster, in the rotation, in the bullpen. Now you got 2 high leverage relievers in Bednar, in Diaz. Raley's coming back, and you got your lefty. Garrett has been pretty good. Stanek is on and off. You can't rely on Stanek to be the high leverage guy. Bednar, really good season. 2.53 ERA in 32 innings, 45 strikeouts. That is where Bednar comes in. Now, you also have control over Bednar for 2 more years. And that is also very appealing, or at least 1 more year, including this year. He's making $5.9 million now. He's arbitration 3. His last arbitration is next year in 2026. So that price is going to go up a little bit. So you get a starting rotation guy in the middle of your rotation, a guy that can be a protector just in case Edwin Diaz opts out and the Mets don't want to re-sign him. If Edwin Diaz decides to opt out, they don't necessarily have to go all in on Edwin Diaz and be that desperate team getting Diaz because they have Bednar. So you get 2 controllable arms in your bullpen and rotation, and you only have to give up Acuna that helped this roster as much as he could, and the Mets allowed him to this year. Tidwell pitched a couple of games, some bad, some good. Boston Barrow, who knows what he's going to be. He's been moving up the ranks a little bit in the Mets farm system, but he's expendable. Too many infielders, too many position players that we have that are logjams. It's about time to use them. This is a blockbuster deal to get this team on the right track, to solidify your bullpen, or at least start to solidify your bullpen. Maybe the Mets do more for another lefty. We shall see. But this is a move that I will do in a heartbeat. Let me know in the comments, guys, what trade proposal you would do. Would you do the first one, Mitch Keller only, Blade Tidwell, number 14 overall prospect, and Jonathan Santucci, number 11 overall prospect? Or would you do the one we just saw in the Mitch Keller, David Bednar for Acuna, Tidwell, and Barrow, number 14 prospect, 12th prospect, and of course, LuisAngel Acuna, who is still in the development stage, but has an extra year of control because he was left in the minors longer to add that extra year of service time, which is beautiful for the Pittsburgh Pirates, who love that. They don't got to pay him. Even better for another year. That is something to always look out for, guys, as the Mets did that with Alvarez and now Acuna. I think Acuna will be in every trade package talked about during this deadline period, guys. 13 days away until the deadline, guys. Will Stearns make the big move? Yes or no? Which proposal do you like, guys? The first one with just Mitch Keller or Keller, and Bednar. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think. Thank you for watching. And as always, Met fans, let's go Mets.